Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about HTML. So if you are someone who wants to start your journey to become a full stack web developer, or maybe after a long time you are going to review your HTML knowledge, or maybe you're someone who is interested to know more about HTML, you're at the right place. So in this video, probably I'm not going to cover everything about HTML, but trust me, I'm going to cover a lot of things that probably you never know about HTML. So let's just start. You can see this is my browser where I'm going to see output of my HTML code. And for writing my code, I need some sort of editor. So I need to download a software which I'm going to use, which is called VS Code. So you can just search on your Google VS Code. You can see these Visual Studio Code things here. You can download for your own operating system. I'm using Mac, so you can see it's saying download Mac Universal. I have already downloaded it, so I'm not going to download again. So let's just start. First of all, I'm going to open my terminal where I'm going to create some folder for me. So you can see my terminal by now. Here is the terminal. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so that you can see it clearly. Fine. So first of all, I'm going to a folder called documents in my computer. Here I'm going to create a directory or folder, you can say. And the folder name is going to be HTML test or HTML tutorial, whatever. It's totally up to you. And then I'm going to move to that folder, HTML tutorials. That's good. So far, so good. Now I want to open my Visual Studio Code. And also I want to load this folder called HTML tutorials in the Visual Studio Code. So you can do this thing like manually. First, you can open Visual Studio Code after download and installation. And then, you can load this folder inside the Visual Studio Code. But what I will do here, I'll just open it from here. So I can say code and then dot, and then I'll press enter. It will just automatically open the Visual Studio Code with this folder called HTML tutorials that I already created. Fine, so far so good. So let's just move into this Visual Studio Code here. You can see it properly. So I will just make it a little bit bigger for you. That's great. It looks great. So far, so good. So first of all, I'll create a file, and that file is going to be readme, exactly the way I'm writing. You can write it the same way. And the extension will be .md, which means Markdown. So it is not something related to HTML, but the reason why I'm creating this file is so that I can make a documentation for myself. So for this tutorial, I'm going to make some documentation here. I'll write down the things I'm going to teach you along this video. So it's a good idea and good note for myself or maybe for you as well. So after this video completed, I'm going to share this entire thing to my GitHub repository, and I'll put the link in the video's description so you can have a look and you can review and practice yourself. So no problem. I have created a file called readme.md. MD means Markdown. So I'm just repeating again so that it can help you to understand. That's it. So I'm going to write down the first line with hash, which means kind of bigger sign or something like bigger heading. You'll see the output and you'll realize what does it mean. I'm saying it HTML course, fine, and project. Okay, so my plan is to teach you everything about HTML, nearly everything about HTML, by making a project. So that's my plan. So let's start. Now, if you want to see like what is the output of this line, of course, you can see in the Visual Studio Code. Here is an option here for the preview. So I'm going to show you. So the output is something like this, HTML course project. So I'm going to write down here all of my plans that I'm going to apply in this video tutorial. So I'll start from the scratch for the HTML. So what I'm doing here, I'm just creating some notes for me, and you can create as well if you create .md file just like me. Okay, so let's just start it. I'm going to start with introduction of HTML. So first thing is going to be introducing to these HTML things. So in this introduction, I'm going to talk first thing first, like what is HTML? Basic question for sure. What is HTML? And why do you need HTML actually? Okay, let's cover this part first. Okay. So I'm sure that you already know what is HTML and why do you need HTML. This sort of question you have already answered, but I'll explain again. HTML refers to hypertext markup language. So it is not a programming language that you already know. it is a markup language. So what does it mean by markup language anyway? So let's say you want to display some sort of text in the web page. You want to display some images to the web page, or maybe you want to display some video to your web page. So Markdown is kind of, they have some tags, and with the help of those tags, you can show these things like text, image, audio, video on your web page. Now, I'm going to talk a lot about these tags for sure. But before I'm going to talk about tags, how do you create an HTML file where you are going to write HTML code? For that reason, you can say something like this: index. You can start with index, you can start with home, anything. You can write anything here. But I'm saying index, which is kind of convention, naming convention for beginning. And then I'm saying .html, which means I'm creating an HTML file for me. Okay, fine. So far so good. I just created an HTML file. I'm not going to do anything right now, but I just wanted to show you how to create HTML file. That's it. That's great. So we covered what is HTML. It is hypertext markup language. And why do you need HTML? Because if you want to show some sort of tags, some sort of like, let's say, images, some sort of audio, video, these sort of things on your web page. So let's say this is my web page. I want to show some audio, video things or image thing here. For that reason, I need to use HTML, which is kind of markup language. And in the markup language, we have something called tag, which is very important to notice here. So we'll cover this thing, tag element and also attribute. So I'm writing down notes for me, and I'm going to cover one by one. So I want to make sure that you learn everything throughout this project. Okay. So it is very important to understand tag. As I said, HTML basically all about tag. It is the heart of your HTML. So what is a tag and how do you create a tag? Let's say I have some text. I can say, let's say in the index.html, let's come here. And I want to say, welcome to HTML, that's it, and nothing more than that. So I want to show this text on a web page, let's say here. And how can I do it? For that reason, you have to wrap up this text inside a tag. Or maybe later, let's say you have an image here, just an image here. Now you want to show the image to your web page. You have to use a tag called image. Let's say you have a table that's full of data that you want to show on your web page. Then for this reason, you have to use table tag. So tag is everything. It helps you to display something on your web page. So let's see how does it work with the tag and what is the syntax for tag. So if I want to create a heading called welcome to HTML that should be visible on my page as a big heading, just like this one, let's say like a Google. So in this case, I have to wrap my text in a tag called h1 for an example. So, and after that, I can like put my whatever text inside this tag. So this is a syntax for tag. It is a starting tag and it is an ending tag, as you can see. So how do you create tag? This is the syntax. Have a look on this. I'll make it bigger for you so you can see it properly. So the way we create tag, we start with the angle bracket. Then we say some sort of keyword. And then it is the starting tag. As you can see, this is the starting tag. And how do you end the tag? As you can see here, that's the syntax for ending a tag. It's going to be the same keyword here, but an extra sign here, extra symbol here, as you can see, slash you need to use. So this type of tag is called pair tag. So now we have type of tags that we want to discuss. So I'm going to add the topic here, types of tag. So there are kind of different types of tag are available. So the first one I want to talk about is called pair tag. Pair tag. So what does it mean by pair? Something that comes like twice. So you can see starting tag, ending tag. So we can say this h1 tag is a pair tag. Then for creating a paragraph, we can say like p, that's it. And inside this, I can put a lot of tags and it will help me to create a paragraph on my web page. So this tag is also a pair tag because it comes like 2 times, as you can see, starting and ending. Some people call it element tag. And the reason they call it element tag, it's because, some people call this container tag because it contains something. As you can see, h1 contains its text. Paragraphs contains something. That's why you call it like container tag. So I think you got this point here. And there is another types of tag which called empty tag. Okay, so I can write it down here, empty tag. But for our references, I can just move it from here to our documentation section. For now, I will say something like this, and I'll put this here. Fine. I'll put it here. Fine. So far, so good. So we know what is pair tag. Something like comes like starting tag and ending tag. But an empty tag like comes only once. So you can use, like, let's say I can give an example. This is an empty tag. This is something I'm using only one time. No starting, no ending, just one time. And this type of tag is known as an empty tag. Some people call it as a single tag. You have some other tag like hr, which is an empty tag because you are using it just one time. By like, what does this tag mean? Actually, you can see it later on when I will show it like practically. But right now, you just need to get the idea, like what are the types of tag. That's it, nothing more than that. Okay, so far so good. I wanted to talk about attribute, something called attribute. And of course, I'm going to talk about it later, like practically. But for now, I want to give you some idea about it. Let's say I have created a heading. Okay, and inside this heading, I have created my heading, let's say Bangladesh, whatever. I'm doing some spelling mistake, but don't worry about this. Just focus on the main thing. So this is a heading. Now it will create a heading to my web page. But let's say I want to put my heading in the center of my page. So for this reason, I have to use something called attribute. So what does this attribute thing basically means? Actually, it means it's going to help your tag, whatever tag you want to wants to use, and whatever attributes you want to use. The rule of attribute is to help your tag. So I want to place my text in the center. I know that h1 can help me to create a heading, but I want to place this h1 or text in the center. So for this reason, I need to use an attribute called align. And where do you use attribute? Normally, and of course, you are going to use at the starting text. So here is the right place for using attributes. So the attribute I'm going to use, it's called align, which is something deprecated, but you can use it for right now just to get an idea about attribute. So now you can see that I have an h1 tag. I have some content inside of this h1 tag, and I'm using an attribute here. The attribute name is align. Then I can put some value for this attribute called center. So this is our attribute structure. This is the syntax. This is how you create an attribute. So you name the attribute, which is align, and then you give some sort of value to this attribute called center or something left, right, whatever. So it will put your text in the center. Right now, we are not like getting any outputs because we don't want to. We just want to get some theoretical idea about this thing. How does this thing works? Okay. Now the beautiful things comes here. We are going to be like starting our practical things. So I'm just putting here a comment, like some note. We are going to start basic structure of HTML. What is the basic structure of HTML? How do you create an HTML page? Okay, let's talk about this. So let's go to our file now, index.html file, where we're going to start making our first web page. So the basic structure of HTML or any HTML file should be like this. First, you create HTML tag. So this is where you're going to put everything. So it will start from here and end here. So this is like kind of your boundary. So within this limit, you have to do everything. Okay. Fine. And then inside of this HTML, you can use two more important things like head. So you can see opening tag, closing tag. But well, you can use it like this. Don't worry. You can use side by side. This is completely fine. There is nothing wrong. But for proper like understanding, and if you want to go through the code, then this is a good way to write down your code. It's a good format. And then I'm going to write another important thing, which is known as body. Fine. So this is the basic structure of your HTML file. So every time you create an HTML file, this is the structure you're going to follow. So first you are going to use HTML, and inside the HTML you'll create head, and then you will create body. Now, what do we do inside the body and what you do inside the head? These are the things I'm going to explain in details. But remember, we are creating a project, and also we are trying to learn one thing after another. Okay, so it sounds good, I think. So what do you want to do inside the body? If you want to display something on your web page, let's say this is the starting point of your web page body. So it starts from here to here, and then from, if you consider the width, then it starts from here to here, from this side, left to right. So if you want to show something here on this body of this web page, then you will write everything here, like image, audio, video, text, table, everything you want to create here. Then what do you want to do in the head tag? Okay, let's see what do we want to do. But before that, I want to print something in the body so that you can see the output. Okay, so let's write something here, say first web page, or welcome to my web page. Welcome to my web page. That sounds good. Fine, we didn't give any like anything here inside of this head tag, but be patient. We're going to do one after one. So now I want to see the output of this page. How can I see that? And whenever I do some change here, I want to see the output also change. For this reason, you can like install an extension, a beautiful extension that's called Live Server. So I'm going to install it, Live Server. And here you can see this extension called Live Server, and lots of people are using it, 24.5 million. I'm going to install it. I'm going to be one more extra user for this extension. That's good. Fine. Now what this extension is going to do for you, it can run your web page, and if you make some changes, it will show that change as well. So how do you run our web page now at this point? Well, we can just click on the right hand side of the mouse and then open with Live Server. Then it is going to open our web page here, as you can see, and it is showing the output here. I'll make it bigger so that you can see. Okay, fine. You can see an output, welcome to my web page. Okay, fine. But you really don't do these things like print straight away that text like this. You will put it inside some sort of text that we already talked about. Let's say the heading tag that I'm going to discuss later on more about this. But inside of this heading tag, I'm putting my text. Now you will see the output also change. It's like a big heading that we created. I'll make it a little bit smaller for you so that you can properly see it. So now that you understand how to create an HTML file, how to run an HTML file, and you have also learned about one extension called Live Server. Actually, throughout this video, I'm going to introduce you many beautiful extensions, many useful extension that are going to help you a lot when you do HTML coding, and it's going to save a lot of your time. So extension is basically here for helping you, for making your code more beautiful so that you can write your code more easily. It's going to save a lot of time. So each extension has its own purpose. So we'll use it for different purpose. We're going to install different extensions. So one thing I want to show you here, it doesn't look good for me, like make some change here, then go back to the browser and show you the output or how the output changed. So I want to install one more extension that will help me to run my code here and show output here as well. Okay, so for that, I'm going to install one more extension, and this time the extension name is Review on Web Server. Review on Web Server. Let's see. Actually, it should be Preview on Web Server. So here is the extension that I'm talking about, Preview on Web Server. I'm going to install it. It's going to take a few seconds, but no worry, we are not in the rush. So fine. So now let's see this extension whether it does work or not. For this reason, I'm going to click right hand side of the mouse, and then you can see there are a lot of options here. But the last one saying VS Code Preview Server, Preview on Side Panel. Also, you can launch on browser just like we did earlier, but I will use this Preview on Side Panel. So at this side panel, we are supposed to see the output now. Okay, you can see the output. That's good. That's good. There is nothing wrong. Fine. I'm going to go live. Fine. You can see when I press like go live, it is opening my web page, which is fine. But there is something happening here because previously I used for another website when I was building, and that's why it's showing that one. But let's close it and let's try once more time. If it doesn't work, then I'll use it later. No worry. But for you, it should be working. Okay, there is some sort of issues going on, which right now I really don't want to think about. Okay, fine. So let's use just like this. No worry. I will make it smaller for you. So this should be helping. Well, this should help you. Okay, fine. So now that we know what we have to do inside the body tag, if we want to add something like image, text, audio, video, and want to display on this part of the page, not at the top, which is for heading actually, for this part actually, but for the body of this web page, or if you want to add something in the body of the web page, then you have to add here inside of this body tag. So first thing first, I want to do something inside the head tag. So what do you do inside the head tag? This is a question. I saw many like let's say advanced people who knows HTML very well. They cannot explain properly what you do actually inside the head tag. There are a lot of things going on here, but I will go like in details so that you have a proper knowledge about this. But first of all, as usual, I'm going to create some note for myself that what I'm teaching you here. So far, we have covered these things. What is HTML? Why do you need HTML? It is always a good question to ask yourself and ask for the explanation. It helps you when you learn something new, and it also helps you to understand in more better way. And we have covered these things: tag, element, attributes, types of tag. There are two types of tag that I've already covered. And we have also covered the basic structure of any HTML file. How should be the basic structure: HTML, head, and body tag. These are the basic structure that we must need in for any HTML file. Well, so far so good. Now let's move on. And then I said I'm going to talk about like what do you have inside this head tag. So inside head tag, what do you have inside the head tag? Fine, let's see what do you have inside the head tag. First of all, you can create a title here with the help of title tag. So you can define your web page title, which is at the top. Right now it's showing some number 1 to 7 and something like this, but we can change it with the help of title tag. So let's put something here, whatever you like. I'm going to say study with Anis, which is kind of my short name. And if I reload this, the output should be visible here. But unfortunately, we are not using the live server browser. So I'm going to open this live server browser, open with live server browser. Now you can see the real output. Now it's changing. Okay, cool. Here you go. I'm sure that you can see it right now properly. I will make a little bit smaller. Fine. So here's the output. You can see the title, study with Anis. It's showing properly that we wanted to do. Fine. I'll make a little bit bigger, this much. Fine. So that we know inside the head tag, we can create title. But what else we can do? We can do a lot more of something like this. As I said, we can create a link here for CSS. We can do like add our JavaScript code here that you will not understand right now. But I want to show you something like this. If you learn later on CSS, which helps you to style your web page, you can say something like this. Hey, I want to link my CSS file here, which will help you to like make styling for your web page. Then you can add like your JavaScript here with this script tag inside of this head tag. Okay, but this is not something I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to talk about like some meta tags, which is the main purpose of these head things here. So what does meta things do? It basically helps you to make your website more accessible. I will say it helps the search engine to do more stuff for you. So let's talk about this meta tag now. I can say here one attribute called character set. Now you know what is attribute because it's helping the tag here. So that's why we're going to call attribute. We need to give some value here. And we can give a value here called UTF-8. You don't need to memorize these things because whenever you are going to create like the basic structure of HTML, this sort of things will come automatically. I'm going to show you how does it come automatically after a few seconds. But for now, just be patient, try to understand what I'm saying. So this meta tag basically saying you can use any kinds of like languages that have different types of symbols and other stuff, and your HTML page is going to support, your HTML file is going to support that sort of character. There is nothing wrong. Fine. And the next thing probably I want to show you, like before running this web page more and more and adding more things, I want to show you how actually this meta tag helps your search engine for search engine optimization. And for that, I have to come to the browser again. I'll make it a little bit bigger so that you can see. You can click on the right hand side of this page, like right hand side of your mouse actually, and then go to inspect. And then I can show you from here. If I click here, just next to memory, probably you can see it. And I want to go to Lighthouse. Look at this, Lighthouse. Fine. And now here you have a lot of good things that you should know. You can check your page's accessibility, and you can check your page's search engine optimization thing. I'm not going to talk about accessibility right now, but in this video, I'm going to talk a lot at the end about accessibility. Okay, I wanted to check how good is for my web page is for searching on the webs, like let's say in search engine, let's say in Google. If someone search my page, how reliable and how quickly they are going to find out my page. So it's something related to search engine optimization. So let's say there are thousands of websites are just like mine. So if someone search on the Googles, then how he's going to find out my web page, how fast he's going to find out my web page. So definitely I have to do some work so that search engine can easily find out my one and bring it top of the search. Okay, so let's say in the first page or maybe in the second page, if there are like 1,000 pages comes up after searching a similar something like this on Google, so that I want to find out my page at the beginning or at the very beginning. So for that, I have to make my page kind of search engine optimization. It is optimized. So for that, I'm going to check how much search engine optimize my web page is. So you have to select this. You can choose mobile option or desktop, but both are fine. And then you can analyze page load. So I'm going to check my search engine optimization level here. It's going to take a few seconds for sure. So be brave enough to wait for that long. Well, it's still taking time. Don't worry, it's coming. So the results is coming. You have to wait just a few seconds more. And you can see the search engine optimization score out of 100 is 78. So it is basically asking us to do some more stuff here. So it is saying does not have a meta tag, you can see, called viewport. The name of the meta is viewport. So it doesn't know about the width and initial scale. So let's say you are using mobile phone and trying to visit this web page, someone else trying to visit this web page using tab, someone else may be trying to access this web page using let's say a bigger screen, something like laptop or maybe desktop. So in this case, that person probably won't be able to see everything of our web page if we don't make it scalable. So we want our web page to be scalable no matter what the screen size is, no matter whether someone is using mobile or desktop or anything else. So how can we do it? Well, this is something telling us the way you can do it. Okay, let's do it. We can do it. So for that, we have to use something called meta tag again. As I said, it's going to help us for search engine optimization. And here, I'm going to say name viewport, and then here I'm going to say content and then width. Just try to look at this, how I'm doing it. You don't need to memorize anything. Trust me, because this is something will come automatically later on, as I said. So it's device width has to here, device width, and the next one will be initial scale, fine, and here value should be 1.0. That's it. So by this line, what we're trying to say, no matter whatever the screen size, please make it like usable for everyone, scalable for everyone. So that's it all I'm trying to say here. Now I will try one more time to check the search engine optimization for this web page. So I will just clear it here again, analyze page load. Just like before, it's going to take a few more seconds, and just like before, you have to be patient enough. Okay, it's coming, and finally it is here. Now the score has changed quite a lot. Now it is 89. Fine, we are doing good. Still, it's giving us some suggestions that we need to add, like it doesn't have any document that's called meta description. So the document needs some sort of description. So every web page, when you search in the Google, it has some description or something that can help Google to find out your like web page, out of many web page. So we can add something like this. We can add a meta tag for the description. As you can see here, the name has below description. So meta tag has like this name attribute, and it can have like different value, like different time. So this time I'm using this description as a value of this name attribute. Again, I'm saying you don't need to memorize these things. Just try to understand at this point. Okay, and here I can say description about my web page. Hey, this is a HTML project, something like this. Fine, so far so good. So let's check our search engine optimization right now. I am doing it again, and just like before, it's going to take a few more seconds. So I believe it's coming, and I wanted to see like the search engine optimization 100%, and it is 100%. That's great. We have done a good job. So far so good. Okay. So far I talked a lot here about these sort of things. You can add author name by using meta tag. And for this, you can just type meta, then you can say name attribute, and the value can be author. And then you can add author name. And how do you do this? Again, you will use content, and you will say your name, which is my name. I'm going to add here Anisul Islam. So for meta tag, most of the time you're going to use this attribute called name. It will have different sort of value, different time, as you can see. And for the content of the meta tag, you will use content attribute. You can see everywhere content most of the time. Okay, fine. So we done a great job so far. But do we have to really memorize these things? Oh no, we don't have to. So for that, we can use a cool thing, and which is like exclamatory symbol. And it is something like going to do everything for you. It is going to create this boilerplate code for your HTML things. So when I press enter now, you can see it has created a lot of things for us. So isn't it really cool? Yes, it is. And now, as I said, you don't need to memorize everything. You just try to understand what this code is doing, what this part is doing. I'm sure I have already discussed a lot about this meta tag. So you know what is title tag is doing here. You know what this code is doing here, but probably this is not something I have already discussed. In this line, what this meta tag is saying, that make it accessible for Internet Explorer. So if some user using Internet Explorer browser and they're using older version, so you want to make sure that your HTML web page is working perfectly. Your web page is doing good. This is what you're trying to say here. I have already discussed about this line, and here is something new that you can see. It is saying this HTML file is going to use the language English. So this is kind of like supporting this HTML thing here. But before top of everything, you can see something really important. It's saying doc type HTML. So basically we are saying that we are using HTML5, and our browser knows that we are using this HTML5 by declaring this line. So that's it. That's it. You are saying I'm using HTML to the browser by this line. Fine. Okay, so far so good. Now let's do few more things here. We can do a lot of things for sure. I showed you I can use h1 tag here, which means basically heading. And I can add whatever I wish here. So let's say study with Anis. Okay, sounds good to you. And you can see the output here. But before moving to the next section, I have already covered everything for this introduction part. I want to add one more thing here, which is kind of validation check for your HTML, validation for HTML file. How do you know that your HTML file is valid? Whatever you have written here it is valid. So you haven't done anything wrong. How do you know that? For this, we have something very cool, which is called W3C HTML validation, HTML validator. If you search on Google, you'll find out this website, validator.w3.org. So I'm going to this website. Now from here, I can find out the file where I'm writing this code. I can find out this file and upload here and then check its validity. But before doing anything else, you must like notice here, I haven't used this meta description, which is kind of a search engine optimization thing that we need to do. So let's do it. I can use here meta description thing. So you can see these things are coming automatically. You don't need to memorize anything here. Fine. And then I'm going to write, this is a HTML project, some sort of description I'm going to keep here. Okay. So first, good. Okay, let's check the validity now. So I'm here in this website. I'm going to validate by file upload. I need to locate my file. Where is this file, HTML file? It is something inside this document, and then I created a folder called HTML tutorials, and here is my index.html. I have selected it. Fine. I have opened it here so you can see index.html. Now let's check how does it work. Is it valid or invalid? So it's saying document checking complete, no errors at all. Okay, but let's create some error intentionally so that we know this validation things really works. I'm going to remove this like end tag here. So I have given only starting tag, but I did not give any like end tag here, which is required because title tag is a container tag. Title is a pair tag. That means you have to use it twice for sure. Okay. So this time I'm going to check it again and I want to see whether it works. So let's just select this index.html file again and I'll go back. Actually, let's go back, and here you can see the file we have choose called index.html. It is already selected, and let's check it right now. But now we get some error. You can see it's saying that we don't have this ending title tag. Okay, let's do it. So it is working basically. So I fixed this error. So this time there should not be any type of error. I'm checking it again and it's worked perfectly. So there is nothing wrong here. So that now you know how to check validation of your HTML file. And this is how we're like finishing this chapter, Introduction to HTML. So I'll just copy and paste down below so that I can take note for the next chapter, which is going to be typography. It is going to be it's very interesting like chapter for us because we're going to learn a lot in this chapter, which is called typography. So this is something related to text. This is something related to icon. You will learn how to add like font awesome icon or different type of icon here. A lot of things you're going to learn. But before that, one more thing we are missing in this introduction section called comments. How do you create comments for your HTML file? And why do you need comments? It is something very important if you want to keep some notes for your coding. So I'll create some comments and I'll show you how to use it and why you really need to use it. So this sort of idea you'll get from here. Okay, so let's create some comment. I will say this will be my header section. So I don't know what will be inside my header section, but I'm making plan. My header section will start from here and my header section will end here. So this is a comment and I'm saying, hey, my header section coding will start from here. My header section coding will end here. So in between these two comments, I'm going to write everything about my header section. But look at this, my probably my commentings will change or turn into like this, but maybe your one not, because I'm using some sort of font, different font that I don't want to talk about this here. But look, how do you create this comment? I'm going to show you again. You will start with this, then you will start with this exclamatory symbol, then hyphen, hyphen, that's it. And how you will end this end will this command, you will say hyphen, hyphen, and then you will end with like angle bracket. That's it. So this is the structure. Okay, so now that you know how to create comments, you can create few comments for yourself. I'm going to create a lot of comments here down below because I know what I'm going to do. First, I will create header section for my web page. and then I will create a summary section for my web page. So this is just basically a summary. It's going to be here, or maybe I could add like about me. Let's say about me. I don't want to make it too complicated for you, so I'll just keep it simple. About me section ends here. And then let's keep it simple like this. I'm going to add, let's say, education section here. So education section, and I want to put it on the both sides, so here and here, fine. And probably after that I want to show my employment history, so I will add here employment history or experience, job experience, whatever, doesn't matter. We can use employment history or job experience, both here, fine. And at the end of this education section, I will create something for my skill. So skill section start here, skill section ends here. Sounds good. After this section, I will create something for my contact, so anyone can contact me. So I will name this one as contact section start and contact section ends. So we are learning comment and we are using comment. So this is how you do something. When you learn something, try to use that thing so that you will understand how it's work actually. And this is how you can remember things very well for your futures. So next thing will be like footer at the end. So footer section start here, something that we want to do at the end of the web page, fine. So we have applied comments everywhere, and if you look at this output, there will be no output at all. So for comments, there will be no output, be sure about this. And one more thing, I want to change the title of my web page. So I'm going to say it study with Anis again, and our title should be changed. You can see it has been changed. That's good. So as I said, comment will not give any output to your web page, but it helps you to create some notes for you so that you, when you write, let's say, thousands of lines of code here, you can easily identify, hey, this part is for my header section. So you can write code here. You can do a lot of coding here. Let's say here one line, and then you start again here, something goes on. But you know this section is only for header, and this is how you are going to get help from these comment things. Okay, so far so good. Let's move on to the next one. As we planned, we are going to talk about heading first. So we said what typography is all about. It basically going to design our text. It's going to help us to add icons, image, and this sort of things. Not image actually, it will be icons, entity, and other stuff. So let's see what are these things. So we are going to add headings in this part. We will learn about headings. We will learn about horizontal rule, fine. And probably we're going to learn about line breaking. Okay, these are the first thing we are going to start with in this chapter. And then let's see what we can learn later on. Later on, probably we're going to learn paragraph. So I can just take the note here, paragraph. So let's start with this heading first. How does the heading things work? In HTML, there are like 6 types of heading you can use. The first one, or the bigger one, or the most important one, is the heading 1. So in every single of your web page, probably you're going to use only one time H1, not multiple times, which is not recommended. So maybe in your whole web page, there will be one H1 tag. Just remember this. So H1 is the one I'm going to use here, and I'm going to say my name. That's it. And it is supposed to display here, as you can see. So as I made my screen a little bit bigger for you, that's why it looks too big maybe, but still it is the most important tag. If you think about heading tag, it is the most bigger tag if you compare to others. I want to show you other tags as well. So H2, but there is something I want to talk right now. I want to use H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6 because there are 6 heading tags available, and the bigger one is H1, which is the most important one, and the smaller one, or which is the least important, is H6. But remember, to make your text bigger, you don't use heading tags. Heading tags is something very meaningful. If you want to create some sort of heading, then you are going to use this heading tag, maybe H1 or maybe H2. But I'm going to give you like some good ideas, some good practice knowledge when I'm using these heading tags for sure. But before going to do anything, I noticed something here. Let's say I want to make this tag h2, the second one. And if I do, like if I type here h2, I wanted my end tag also to be changed so that it can save me some time. But here it's not happening. You can do it with some extension. So again, we need to get some help from an extension, which is called auto rename tag. Okay, let's find it out. And I think I have find it out here. You can see auto rename tag. Nearly 10 million people install it, so I'm going to install it as well. And now I'm ready to use it. Okay, so I'm going to close this part so that you can see. Fine, I don't need this. Okay, now if I change this h1 into h2, you can see both starting and ending tag are renaming at the same time, which is really useful. It's saving my time. Okay, and something like this will go on. I want to create h3. I just want to demonstrate how these things look at the output. For the output, h5, and then finally h6. So these are the 6 heading tags you can use. Now you can see the output. This one is the h1, then h2, h3, h4, h5, h6. So this one is the most important heading tag, and this one is the least important tag. So whenever you use heading tag in your web page, make sure you use h1 only one time. And then let's say you want to use h2, this is completely fine. You want to h3, this is completely fine. But remember, always try to go in order. So after h1, you can use h2. This is fine. But if you think, hey, after using h1, I will use h3, this is not something recommended, and this is not something accessible. We'll talk about this web accessibility later, but right now I wanted to talk about maintaining the order of your heading tag is very important. So this one is the most important one. Then you will use the next important one, which is h2. So you will go like this. This is the correct way. And then you will use h3. After using h3, probably you will h4. So you should go like this. But let's say if you want to decide, if you want to think after using h3, you want to use h2, which is completely fine. There is no problem. But for going from the ascending order, or for something like important one, so after h1 you will use h2. This is the order. This is the order you should maintain. But at some cases you think, hey, I have used h4, now I want to use h2. This is fine. There is no problem here. But when you are going from the beginning, let's say if you have used h1, now you don't need to use h3, but you should use h2. This is the right one you should use. Okay, so now you know a lot about these heading things. Let's move on. Let's add some heading for each section. Okay, I find out I want to add something here, and I can say it about me with this heading 2 tag, and I can use heading 2 tag everywhere, no problem. I'll use here. And for this, I just want to say, let's say employment history or job experience. I will say employment history. Employment history. Fine. And the next one will be education section. So I will say education. Fine. And the next one, what will be for the next one? It is going to be skills section. So I will say skills. And the next one will be footer, not footer actually, it will be contact section. Okay, so far so good. We have created a lot of headings for us, which looks completely nice. So we are learning, let's say, a topic, and then we are applying into our project. That's going very good. So far so good, as you can see. It looks amazing. Now go back here. Now we can start applying other stuff. Let's say I want to add a horizontal rule. Now, what does this horizontal rule does? When you do add a horizontal rule tag, it will apply a horizontal rule, like the rule will be horizontally. So I can show you, and then you can understand how it's working. So after this h1, I want to add a horizontal rule. So the horizontal rule is kind of an empty tag, so you don't need to use it twice. Now, if you look at the output, so after h1, we have used hr tag. So you can see the output after h1, we have a horizontal rule starting from this side and ending here. So it looks nice, fine. And then you could use br tag that we can use later on, but br basically means line break. So if you need some time, like breaking a line, if you want to go from one line to another, then probably you're going to use be a tag. Well, I'm going to demonstrate the use of be a tag here. Let's say after the about me, I have added a line of text. Let's say my name, full name, something, anything, full name, or I can say it like first line, and you'll see the output here is saying first line. Okay, that's good. But I have just given enter here and typing like second line, some sort of text, and I'm expecting the output to be like this. The first line should be appear first, and at the bottom of the first line there should be appearing like second line. But do you think it's going to work? No, not at all, because by default the browser will like start from here and it will go to the end, and when the end like you reach the end, then it will start from the second line. So if you want to create a line break, for this reason I want it like this, that first line will be displayed first and then there will be a line break. That means I want to bring this second line in the bottom of the first line. You can do it with this tag, be a tag. Now if you look at this output, you can see it. So basically you are saying first line then break, so it will come here again from the beginning of this line and then it will print whatever you have given here. So this is the reason of using be a tag. Okay, so far we did good. We did understand about these tags, heading, horizontal rule, and line breaks. Now I want to add something for demonstrating this paragraph. Okay, how do you create paragraph in HTML? So in case of like about me, probably it will be nice if I say summary about me. Okay, I'll say something like this, summary. Excuse me, I'm changing it. Okay, and I'm going to say here summary for me, whatever. Basically it means same thing anyway. So I want to create a paragraph and I want to put my text inside the paragraph. So I have some text for myself that is going to give an idea about me. So I have pasted it here. Now you can see there is some text and it has been displayed here. You can see it clearly. So this is a paragraph that I have created. But as I said, if you want to create a paragraph, it is always a good thing to put your text inside a tag, definitely tag. So always, if you do something like any kind of thing, like text or other thing, always try to put them inside a tag. So if you want to create a paragraph, the good thing is that you can use a tag called p tag, which is easy to remember. P means paragraph. And now this is the correct way to display your paragraph in your web page. Okay, that's good. So far we are doing really good. Now I want to add some paragraph for the footer of my page. So this is the header and this is going to be the footer of my page. Well, I can do it. I can go at the bottom and I can add some text here inside the paragraph tag. I can say developed with love by Anisul Islam, and it should be displaying here, as you can see. Fine. I want to add one more paragraph. Come on, we can do it. We can say something like this: copyright. Then I want to say copy symbol here, but well, we are writing just some sort of text, so it will show copy 2022, nothing more than that, as you can see. Later on, I want to add a copyright symbol here instead of this copy word, but right now I will just leave it just like that so that you understand that we have added a paragraph here. Okay, so our paragraph knowledge is done. Now the next thing I'm going to talk is something called text formatting text. So we are going to learn how to format our text or how to design our text. So this is called text formatting text. Okay, fair enough. We can see how does it work by like looking at one by one. Okay, let's start. There are a lot of text for this thing. We can use strong tag to make our text bold. We can use like strong tag, not string. Okay, then we can use something called emphasize tag to make our text like italic. We can use, let's say, mark tag. We can use super tag. We can use subscript tag. So there are a lot of tags that we are going to use here, and we'll look how does it like work. Okay, we'll examine one by one. We'll test one by one. So let's go. Okay, fine. So I need to give you some example here. For this, I'll go up here, and here I want to say I'm a software developer after the name of my web page or title of my web page. So this is my name, and then I want to say I'm a software developer. You can see the output is here already. But I want to design it like kind of bold, so the text looks bold, just like the heading, but I don't want to make it heading because I have a heading already here. So I want to make it as like kind of a subtitle, whatever you say. So for this reason, I can put this one inside a tag called strong tag. Okay. So let's use the tag called strong tag. I will select this. I will cut it from here because I want to use it again. So I'm creating a tag called strong tag, and it is like a pair tag. So it will come like together, like starting and ending. Now you can see the output here. It's saying software developer. I think it's fair enough. Now you can see we have formatted our text. We have designed our text with this strong tag, which is a text formatting tag. We could say something like this, emphasize. So now you can see it's like kind of italic. Okay. And we can use both of them together for sure. We can say, hey, I want it strong. Okay. And then I wanted to emphasize as well, both of them together. So this is the opening tag for strong. This is the opening tag for emphasize. Now the one you have used at the end, you have to close it first. So emphasize should be closing first, and then we can close our strong tag, which is the outer one. So the inner one should be closed first. Okay, I think I have repeated quite many times here, and I'm going to move everything. Okay, this one looks better. Okay, what I have done, I need this strong tag. Come on here. Okay, fine. So what we have done here right now, we made our text strong and emphasize at the same time. Make sure to close the inner one first. So the inner one is emphasize and the outer one later, so as you saw from here. Okay. So now you know how does these things, text formattings work, strong, emphasize. We have some other tag called like super, subscript, and a lot of things here. I could show you all, but I don't think so. It's a good thing to spend more time here. But let's say you want to use something else like mark, which is another text formatting tag. Now you can see the output. It just highlights your text. Okay, so the mark tag highlights your text. Then I could show you like del, which means delete. You can see the delete sign here. So it's just crossing the text, which is perfect because we have used this tag. And there is some other tag called super and subscript, but I'm not going to talk about this tag here because these are not needed. So I'll just use the strong one that I wanted to use here. That's all. So it's working fine. And then I want to make this summary like kind of emphasize. So for that, I can say inside of this head tag, I can say, hey, I want to make you emphasize. Okay, that's great. So you just use the opening emphasize here, but this is the innermost one, inner one. So you have to close it first. So here is the emphasize closing tag. And now you can see the summary. It is basically heading tag, and also it is emphasized or italic kind of. Okay, that's good. We have done a lot of good job here. Now we can move from this text formatting tag to the next topic, which is an important one for sure, which is called entity. Entity. And also we learn about symbol or emoji, whatever you say. Then we can learn how to add icons here. So this is very important things. In many of your web page, whenever you are going to build a web page, you will have some sort of icons in your web page for sure, some sort of entities. This is something very common. Okay, so let's talk about this entity, how you create an entity. What is an entity? Entity is kind of a symbol that you want to display in your web page. So let's say you wanted to display a symbol here, like copyright symbol. Let's say you want to display a heart symbol instead of this love word here. So how do you create an entity? It's very easy. The structure of an entity, I can show it to you. So the structure is like, first you'll use this ampersand symbol. Probably your ampersand symbol will be something different, not just like me, but I'm using this ampersand symbol or and symbol that is basically at the same key of the number 7 in my keyboard. So this is the entity key. Entity symbol, actually it starts like this. Then you say some sort of keyword here or word here, and your entity ends with semicolon. So this is the structure of creating an entity. So it will start with this ampersand symbol or address symbol. Then you will say some sort of word, which is meaningful for sure. And then you will say a semicolon at the end. And that's it. That's the structure of entity. So now we do know the structure of entity. Let's apply what we have learned. I'm going at the end in the footer section. I want to add here a copy symbol instead of this text copy. So I want to create an entity. As you know, entities start with this and symbol, and then I'm going to say a word called copy, which is meaningful for this HTML, which is already ready for HTML. So HTML understand when you say copy, and it will create an entity like copy symbol, as you can see here. I will make it a little bit bigger so that you can see better. Okay, as you can see now. Okay. And then we want to create one more symbol here, one more entity here. So it will be like, again, and then hearts. So when I'm typing here, you can see it's giving me a lot of suggestion that I can use. It's a cool thing. So I will use this suggestion hearts. And you can see the heart symbol is here, which is fair enough. Okay. So far, we have done good job. Then we are going to see how can we add symbol or icons one by one. Let's say I want to add Unicode. So I'm going to unicodetable.com website, and you can find out any symbol from here. Let's say this one. And you can just copy this symbol from here. Just copy it from here, or you can use the entity from here. I'm going to just copy from here. That's it. So after you copied it, you can paste it in your HTML anywhere you wish. Let's say I want to put it here, just before developed. And now let's see, does it shows in the web page? Yes, it does. You can see this entity here. So it's a nice way you can copy and paste in your HTML file. That's okay. Now I'm going to show you one of the most important thing, which is called Font Awesome icon. So these are some icons that we use from a website called Font Awesome, which you are going to use in a regular basis when you are designing your web page. Now I'm going to bring something like Font Awesome website for you so that you can see Font Awesome icon. So I'm searching by the name of Font Awesome. You can see the web page here, the first one. Let's go to this web page and let's explore it. You can see this icon tab, and you can search for icon from here. Let's say I want to use Facebook icon. Okay, you can search it, and you can see there are some icons for Facebook. Now we can use this icon for sure, and we can add to our project. But before that, you have to do one more thing, one more cool thing, and which is adding this Font Awesome to your website or your web page. You have to connect the Font Awesome to your web page. And how do you do it? How do you connect? First, you need to connect it. Then you can start applying these like icons. You can start adding this icon to your web page. So for connecting your web page to this Font Awesome server, you can use something called CDN. So I can write it like this: Font Awesome CDN. Font Awesome CDN. Okay. So if you search by like this, Font Awesome CDN, you'll see a website called cdnjs.com, which is very popular and most useful software for us. We can go to this website, and from here, I'm going to copy the first one. You can see the copy link tag, actually the middle one here. So copy link tag, I need the link from here, and then I can paste the link somewhere. But remember what I'm saying right now. If you want to use any sort of link to any different server or anything, the link will be placed inside this head tag, always, always. So I'm going to place the link here inside my head tag. So inside the head tag, you can use it anywhere, no problem. Now that we have connected our web page to the Font Awesome website, so we are ready to use the Font Awesome icons, whatever we like. So let's just start using this one. Okay, I can copy it. For you can see there are some different options: HTML, React, and Vue. We are selecting HTML, which is by default. And from here, you can just copy. You just click here, so it will copy the code for you, and then you can paste anywhere in your web page. Let's say at the end, I want to add here. Okay, fine. So this should be visible to our web page. What is saying? It's like saying I starting with I tag, and then it's saying font awesome brands. This is something they have created. You don't need to memorize. Let's see the output. Okay, where is our output? Yes, here it is. You can see the icon here, font awesome icon. Brilliant. Now you know how to add font awesome icon to your web page, which is really something cool, which is something you are going to use a lot in your practical life. That's great. Then we can add more icon like this. But before going furthermore, I want to introduce one more extension here, which is going to help you when you try to add this sort of font awesome icons or any different icons. So there is an extension, and the extension name is something called, if I remember, icon fonts. And here it is. Actually, you can see quite many people are using it, and it's also has a 5-star. So let's install it. But before installing it, I want to demonstrate something here. So let's say I want to install one more icon for YouTube. So I'm searching like YouTube. It doesn't show anything. It doesn't give me any instruction. If I say, let's say IFS, then font awesome icon or font awesome brand, and then I want to use YouTube, but it doesn't give me any instruction. Come on. So that's why we are trying to get icon fonts extension, which will help us to add this sort of icon quite easily and give us some extra information when we start to type. So when you're typing, it will give me some idea, it will give you some idea. So I'm installing these fonts. That's good. That's good. You can see how does it work, but we'll see it practically. So let's go. After you have installed it, now let's type something called YouTube here. You can see when I said YouTube here, you can see a lot of different options is coming here. You can use font awesome YouTube from here. FAB means font awesome brand. So I want to use this. Now you can see you don't need to go to the font awesome icon website and find out the icons anymore. Now from here, this extension is going to help you to do it. So let's try one more. I want to add LinkedIn one. So FA something, I'm looking for FA, which basically means font awesome. This is something I'm interested about. So I just selected this one. So now I should have 3 icons, as you can see. I'll add one more at the end for the Twitter. So let's add Twitter one, okay? And it has to be font awesome Twitter icon. So that's it. Okay, so far so good. We have done a good job. So now that you know how to add entities, symbols, and icons, this is like the end of our typography topics. So let's start another chapter here. And this chapter is all about most important things in your web page, called list, link, and then image, how to add image. Then we are going to learn how to add frames in this section, and then we are going to learn how to add media like audio and video. So we are in chapter 3. I can name it like this, so probably it's a good idea to name it like this, chapter 1. And let's say again it's chapter 2. We have already which covered, it's done. And finally we're in chapter 3. Of course we have many more chapters coming, and which we are going to apply in our project one by one. That's it. So let's start with the list, first one, and then we'll go one by one, like link, images, frames, and media, which basically refers to audio and video. So let's give some example of list first before moving to HTML things. We can list some programming language. Let's say C, then probably you can say C++, then you can say Java, then you can say JavaScript. So these are the name of some programming language. Now we can list it. How do you list it? We can say number 1 is C programming, number 2 is C++, number 3 is Java, and number 4 is JavaScript. So what we are doing here, basically we are listing. It's called ordered list. So you have an order here, 1, 2, 3. So this is called order list. The order list can be like this. A, it can start with A, then it can be B, then it can go with C. So this is another example of ordered list. So it doesn't need to be number always. It can be like alphabet. It can be Roman numbers as well, or Roman thing as well, like this. So I can show you. So this is also an example of order list. I will say this is number 3 actually, and this is 4. Okay, this is all completely fine, and this is another example of ordered list. But for the unordered list, there will be no orders. There will be some symbols like, let's say, disc symbol, circle symbol, or square symbol. So we know what is list. Now we want to see how to create lists with the help of HTML. So let's go to our code, but before that I want to take a note that we are studying list. We are trying to understand list, and then we're going to understand link, and then we're going to understand image, and then we're going to understand frame. So one by one, this is our plan, and then we'll talk about media. Basically, as I said, media is something like audio and video things that we are going to add in our web page. Maybe, let's see. But from the list, we are going to talk about ordered list. So this is a type of list. And also we are going to talk about unordered list. And also going to apply it in our project. Fine. So let's go to the HTML now. And let's create a list somewhere. Let's say I want to create a list here in the employment history section. And the way you can create a list here, it's very simple, very much simple. But before even creating a list, I want to say something like this. Let's say for my employment history, I was a junior software developer at somewhere at mfiles. Okay, this is a company name where I worked as a junior software developer. Then I want to say something like this. Number 2, I want to mention another work experience here. I want to say I was a research assistant at Tampere University, where I have studied. So Tampere University, Finland. Okay, Tampere. Fine, it's going good. And I can make it a little bit bigger for you maybe. Okay, or smaller. So when I just saved this file, you can see the number 2 already went there, you know. So if I save it right now, you don't see these are like ordered list, like one after one, they are coming everything like all together. This is something that I wanted like this 1, then 2, then 3 in an order, one after one. We could use something called break tag here, so that now you can see 1 first and then number 2. But I don't want to give this number every single time, like 1, 2, 3, because these are something we can create quite easily with ordered list, and which is recommended things. You know, you don't need to use break, you don't need to use this 1, 2 things. Just put them inside of the ordered list tag. So now I'm creating ordered list, and you can create an ordered list with OL tag, which basically means ordered list. And here you can create one list after another. And for creating list, you have to use another tag called list. So first, the structure will be like this. You want to create an ordered list. That's why you are saying ordered list. And then inside ordered list, you can create one after one list. Okay. So let's say I want to add this to my ordered list. That's all. And then again, I want to add one more list. So I will use li tag and put these tags inside this list. That's it. Now, if I save it, you can see the difference. It is creating an ordered list for us. It's automatically giving 1, 2. We are not giving any number here. And also we are not creating any break here, but it's giving us break automatically. Fine. So now I think you have understood what is these ordered listings and how to create. I can create few more lists here, or maybe I can copy and paste. That's it, nothing more than that. I don't need any more like using more time here to teach you about ordered list. But let's say if I want to make it unordered list, I can do it quite easily by saying UL. So U means unordered and L means list, that you already know. So it is an example of unordered list. And how does this unordered list looks like? Let's see. You can see the example of unordered list here. There is no order, no number, nothing, no alphabet, nothing. Okay. So for order list, you use UL. For unordered list, you use UL. For order list, you use OL. But the common tag for order or even unordered list is the li tag. So it is common for both of them. no matter whatever kind of list you want to use or create, order or unorder. List is the thing you have to do every time inside of the order list or unorder list tag. Okay, fair enough. Now let's go back to the previous one, which was order list. And you want to change this 1, 2, 3 type. You want to change it to A, B, C. You can do it from here, from the HTML, but this is not something kind of recommended for you. You can use CSS for styling and also manipulating these sort of things. But I will show you the example. You can use the type attribute, and there are some values that you can see. If I use this A, okay, fair enough, and save, then you can see the difference, A, B, C. I could use the value here, small letter. Then here you can see small A, B, C orders. But the default value, as you have noticed, is 1, 2, 3. So I'll keep the default value and I'm going to move it from here. Or maybe I'll leave it for you. That's it. So far, so good. So we have covered ordered list and unordered list. But before moving more, I want to make it a little bit complex. So here I have just a text. Let's say I want to put it inside something. Let's say I want to put it inside H3 tag. Okay, fine. So inside H3, I have a heading tag here. Okay, it looks good. Definitely, it looks good to me. And then probably I could use not H3, I could use strong tag. Okay, fine. Now I have used strong tag. And then inside of this list, just look at this. Inside of this list, I have used strong tag. Now I want to add some description of my employment history, which is related to this junior software developer. So for that, I can create a paragraph. And inside this paragraph, I'm going to add some dummy value. And the way you add some dummy value or create some dummy text is called lorem. So if you type lorem, then give some value like 20 and then press enter, it will create some dummy text for you. So 20 words will be created for you, as you can see here. So I want to do same thing for others. So li has opening and ending tag. And inside this tag, you can do whatever you wish. You can add more tags inside this tag, okay? So I'm, again, inside this li tag, I want to create a strong tag and I want to put the title of my next job, you can see. And after this strong tag, still inside this li tag, I want to create another paragraph and give job description. So this time again, 20 words. You can see inside this li, I have two elements. One is strong, another one is paragraph. And it is completely fine. You can see the output. Okay. We can do the same for the next one. So let's do the same for the next one. It's just practicing yourself a lot. This is something is recommended. So let's create a strong tag again. And inside of this, I'm going to put the job title, and then I'm going to add the job description here with some dummy value lorem 15 this time maybe. Okay, that's good. So it's looking already good. Our web page, you can see the title of the web page, then which is my name, then my job title here. Then you can see some summary of my life or maybe my work. And then you can see the employment history wherever I work. It has the title of my employment and the description of the job whatever I have done there. And then we have different section: education, skill, contact. We have completed our footer section as well, where we have added entity. We have added some like you can say symbol or Unicode. We have added icon entity here again, and these are some font awesome icon that we have added earlier. So far, so good. So our order list, unordered list is done at this point. But let's go to the education section and let's add some order or unordered list here as well. So this is the education section, and I want to make it emphasize as well. Let's make it emphasize. So we could say like EM tag here. So EM and then press enter. You can see the EM tag is created for you. And let's just put this education here. That's all. That's look good, I think. Okay. Yes, it looks good. Fine. So create an unordered list here, UL. And inside this UL, I want to create LI, which is very much important. And then I'm going to put some text here inside the strong tag. Okay, I'm going to say I have done my master's in software, web, and cloud. So whatever I've done here, I'm going to say about my education here, software, web, and cloud. That's cool. And then I'm going to say, where did I complete this? I'll make it a little bit smaller, probably this time, so that I can add my text here. So inside the paragraph tag, I'm going to say my university name, which is Tampere University. And I'm going to say it basically located in Tampere, and the country name is Finland. Okay, fair enough. I think you can understand what I'm doing here. And finally, I will create another paragraph where I will say my grading point. Okay, so my grading point was 3.79 out of 5, which is not very convincing, but it is okay for me. Okay, so you can see the unordered list is here, and we can create few more unordered lists. At least let's create one more. Okay, for my bachelor's in computer science and engineering, so I will say computer science in like a bachelor in computer science. Okay, so let's just type here computer science, and then I will say which university I did completed. I have studied at leading university, which is located in Sylhet, Bangladesh. Fine. And this time my CGPA is good, I will say. Out of 4, I had 3.92. Okay, that's kind of memory that I have. Okay, good. We have like used our knowledge here. Whatever we have learned ordered list and unordered list. Now let's move to the next one. Another important thing, probably another most used thing, called link. You want to create some sort of link for your web page every time. Let's say you created this icon here. If anyone click on this icon, you want to take the person to your Facebook page. If anyone click on this YouTube icon, you want to take that person to your YouTube channel. So you can create a link and you can make your icon linkable. But let's just create some icon here, like for no reason. I can make some icon like saying home, about, contact. So three link actually, not icons. For creating a link, we use something called anchor tag. And let's come here. So for an example, I want to add it at the top. So here, okay. Let's add a link here. And as you can see, it starts with anchor tag, which is represented with A. And then you can say inside of this tag, hey, this is for home, and that's it. The link should be visible in our web page if we reload it, but we don't see the link. And what's the reason why we cannot see it? It is supposed to be here. For some reason we don't see it. Okay, let's put it somewhere else and let's see whether it does work or not. Okay, we can see it. Okay, finally it is here. Okay, it's working. But when we click here, it will not take us anywhere. And what's the reason? Because we did not give any link. Where should it take us? So because it's a web page, it's our home page. So I want it, if someone click here, it should be like the home page only. It doesn't need to go anywhere. So for this reason, I'm going to say it's a hash. So basically I'm saying it's a home page, that's all. Okay. And let's say this time I want to create a link for an example, for my about page. Okay, I can create another page for about, and then I can link that about page from here. So you can see the link is here saying about. We can create one more link finally, and this time we can say it's contact, whatever. So now we need to create 2 more web pages for about and contact, and we can do it very easily. Let's create 2 more HTML files, one for about, another one for contact. So I'm going to my root directory here, and I'm going to create one file, actually, not folder. I'm going to say it about.html. And here I can create the basic structure quite easily that you already know. And I'm going to say here, for example, I'm going to say h2 in the body. And I'm going to say I'm about page. I'm going to say I am about page, nothing else. There is nothing else I want to do. I just want to show you how to connect one page with another. and how to use link tag. That's my purpose. So let's create one more file for contact. So it's going to be contact.html. Now you can see we can use the basic structure, and we can say here, I am contact page. I'm not adding anything in this page, just the text, so that you know it's working. Okay, so when someone click on this about page or about link, they should visit the about page that I have created. For that reason, you have to give the address here. So basically this href attribute, which is kind of mandatory, you have to use, and you can give the address where you want to go. So I want to go to my /about.html. So this is the page where I want to go. Slash is not necessary here, but basically it's saying it's the root directory wherever you are right now. And then I can say /contact.html if someone click on this contact menu. So let's see whether it's working or not. Right now, if I click home, still the same page as I said earlier, but if I press about, it's taking to me about page. If I click on contact, it's taking to my contact page that I created. So now you know how to create this sort of link. This is fine. I want to add one more link here for visiting, let's say, Google. So let's say I want to say something here, visit Google. Visit Google, fine. And let's say I save it right now, and you can see it saying visit Google. But if I click it, it's not going to take me anywhere. And the reason, you know for sure, we haven't given any address here. So how you can give address here? For this reason, just go to Google, okay? And here is the Google actually. And we need the link from the top. So just select this part, this address bar, and copy the link from here. Then what we can do, we can just paste the link here. So just copy some address and then paste it. That's all you need. Now if you click this one, you can see it is replacing our original page that we created, and it has brought us to this Google page that is supposed to do. Okay, this is making sense to me. But let's say you don't want this. When you click this visit Google page, a link, you don't want to replace your original one wherever you are right now. You want to create a different tab, and you want to show this Google page site in a different tab. For this reason, you can use an attribute called target. And here is the attribute, target attribute. But this time the value should be blank. That means we want to visit this site in a different tab, which is blank for us, so which is ready for this, like loading this page. Okay, let's see whether does it work or not. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, so probably you can see it better. Okay, so let's click here, visit Google. Now you can see my page is still here, so there nothing has been replaced, nothing has replaced this page. And now also the Google page is open in a new tab, which is something I wanted. Okay, fair enough. Now we know how to create link, and probably you have noticed link is a container tag, so you can put anything inside of this link tag. It is not just text you can put inside, you can put image inside of this link tag, so it will allow you to click on an image and to take you somewhere else. We can put some icon inside of this link tag, so if you click the icon, it will take you somewhere. So now that we know how to link something, we can link our icon as well. So let's say go to the bottom of this web page. Let's say if you click on this Facebook icon, it should take you to my Facebook page. How do I make it? That's very simple. Let's just wrap this Facebook icon. Let's just cut it from here, create a anchor tag here, and then put inside of this like anchor tag whatever you cut earlier, which means your icon. So that's it. You can see it properly. Well, I'm just showing it right now. So this is the hyperlink tag starting and ending, and inside of this hyperlink tag I have my icon. Okay, fair enough. Now if I click the icon, it's not going to take me anywhere, but you can change, you can see the change. it's already turned blue, kind of blue, which means it's a link right now. Okay, so let's add the address of my Facebook. So for that, I need to go to study with Anis, which is my page, my Facebook page. So if you are someone new, probably you can start follow me. So I'm going to visit my Facebook page here, study with Anis. I need this address, so I had just copied it from here. Then I can close it, and then I can paste the link to this href. And finally, you have learned how to open this web page in a different link, in a different page. You can say target blank. So if someone clicked the icon, it will take me to this web page, but in a new page. Okay, because I'm saying, hey, create a new tab and open the page. That's all. Okay. So let's see whether does it work or not. I'm not going to do it for other icons, but of course you can do it by yourself. So I'm clicking this Facebook icon and it's taking to my Facebook page, as you can see. So you can start follow me and you can support me there. Okay, cool. So far it's going very good. Now we have learned how to create links, how to create linkable icons as well. So finally, maybe at the top of my heading tag here, I could add more for the link stuff, but let's say this is enough. We have learned it, how to use the link thing and how to create link. That's all for the link. Now let's go for the image. This is something that I wish to show you. This is something really cool, and we can learn very easily how to add image to your web page. Now this is the question. You can add an image very quickly, just saying img tag. That's all. Okay, where is my heading? So where do I want to add image? This is the first question. I want to add my image, let's say after this. Okay, here it's my name, and then I want to add some image here that's represent me. So let's say img tag, and now if you see it, I didn't need to remember anything about this. I just type img, you can see it's there, you just press enter, everything is here. Whatever attributes you need to use, it is here for you. So these are some important attributes, and you must use at least the source attributes, which is recommended, because inside of this source attributes, you say the value of the image, where the image is coming from. You say the address of the image. So right now I don't have any image, but let's see if I can get some image from somewhere. So I'm going to my GitHub profile. So GitHub Anisul Islam. I'm going to my GitHub profile and I want to get some image from there. Okay, let's see. Yes, I can get an image from here. I'm going to save this one as, let's say, desktop. I'm going to say it's a profile. That's it. So I got an image from somewhere and it should be working. Now let's get that image here. How can I get the image here? First, I need to bring this image inside my folder, working folder. Where is my project? So this is my working directory or working folder. I can create a folder here called images. So I can put all my images here inside this folder. But right now I have only one image. So let's get it. How can I get it? Come on, let's see. How can we get it? Yes, here you can see. Okay, I'm just dragging it inside this image folder. Fine. Now you can see the images here. And let's get our output as well here. Okay, so how do you add this image here? We know that for adding image, we have to use img tag. Then inside this source attribute, you have to tell where is your image. Okay, now we know we should start with dot, then slash, so that we can access different folders. Now we can see here the images folder. Where is our image actually? So I just clicked it, and then I have one option only here, which is profile.png. There are some other options which is not valid option, because for us we have profile.png. Okay, so I have selected. Now if I save it, the image should be visible. You can see it's a beautiful image there. Okay, cool, very cool. And then you must not use alternative attribute. It's not something must, but it is something highly recommended. For some reason, if your image is not available, let's say you have typed something wrong here. You haven't typed images, you said image folder, but basically it's supposed to be images folder. You have done a mistake here. or maybe for some reason this image is not available. In this case, you want to show some sort of text at least to the user for some sort of information. So you can see there is nothing showing here because I did a mistake here. That's why the image is not loading. Maybe for, let's say you have a low bandwidth, wherever you are using internet, there is not a good speed, so the image is not loading. So you want some information to display instead of this image. For this reason, you can use alternative attribute, which is nice thing for sure. And I can say profile image here, anything that is relevant. So now you will see some text. It's saying profile image, even though image is not loading and I did some mistake, or maybe the image did not load from the server, or image is not available at all. So if the image, you can find out if it is available, then the image will be shown here. If for some reason image is still loading, or maybe it's not available, then this alternative attribute will show some information to the user, which is very important at this case. Okay, now I want to introduce you another way to add your image. Let's say you can get a lot of images from a website called Unsplash. The website I normally use, it's called Unsplash, for getting more images. From here you can get a lot of images. Let's say I want to get a profile image, something profile picture. And we have a lot of people here, right? Let's use someone from here. And well, we can use someone, but who is going to be a better one for our purpose? So I can select this person, then I can download the image. It's a good looking image. Then I can find it and I can drag it to my Visual Studio Code for sure. So I can do it. Let's do it then. Let's bring it here, but where it's gone. Okay, just a second. Here you go. So I'll drag this inside my images folder, which is completely fine. There is nothing wrong. And then I can use it from here inside this directory. But I don't want it to do like that because we have already done something similar. This time I want to load all of my images. I want to put all of my images in a server, in someone's server, and then I want to create a link, and then later on I want to use that link for my image source. Well, you can do it, and for that we have some cool website. The website I can use is called Post Image. As you can see, I'm typing Post Image, and this is a good website where you can host your image, which means where you can keep your image, upload your image, and then create a link, and later on this link is a valid way to access your image. So I'll choose image from here, and then from here, let's say I want to go to download, probably where I have downloaded my image. Yes, this is the image. Or maybe let's say whatever image you want to use. I want to use my own image, which is my profile. Don't worry about the other one. Just select any image, and then after selecting the image, I'm selecting this. You can see there will be some sort of link. There are a lot of links. I will use this direct link from here. I just copied it. Now we can access our image by this link. So let's check out whether it's working or not. Let's go to Visual Studio Code. As you can see here, instead of this source, I can use my link that I just copied. I'm pasting it here, and let's see whether it's working. Still, we have the same image. That means our link is working. So we have created an image link for ourselves. So this is not something locally available. I can delete it from here now, because we are not using local image. We're using our image link that we created by uploading our image to a server and created this link. Okay, so it looks fine. So far you have learned how to add images. This is great. Now we can move to the next one, which is frame. Okay, so we have finished quite many topics so far. Our next topic is going to be frame. So frame is something is going to help you to add someone else's website or your other website maybe, or maybe some sort of map or a YouTube video, whatever you want. So frame is going to help you to load some sort of other website or some link, something else. So let's see how does it work. For the reason, what is my plan is to go to my index.html, and in the contact section, let's say, where is the contact here? I want to add a map here. This is my plan. So adding a map. How can we add map? For that reason, let's say go to Google Map. I'm going to the search Google Map, and I need to find out my address from here. Okay. So let's say where I am now. I am right now at Tampere, okay? Or maybe this is my home address, whatever. So I will use Tampere. Tampere, this is my home address, let's say, for an example. So after finding your address, what you can do, you can select the share button here or link. And from here, you need to embed a map. You need to click here. And finally, you can see it's saying copy HTML. So just copy this link, copy this HTML thing. That's all. That's it. So if I pasted the code here, you can see basically it's the iframe that we are supposed to learn and we are trying to learn. It's an iframe tag. It's a container tag. So you can see it like opening and ending tags. Then there is some sort of source that you don't need to think about. Don't worry, it's going to be some sort of link or something, some sort of source. Then there is an attribute called width. With this help of this attribute, you can control width of something. For an example, I want to control the height and width of this image. I can do this with the help of this attribute, width and height. So let's just use it for the image. Why not? Why not? Let's do it. So this is the image tag. I'm going to add some attributes called width. And actually, I don't want to control the width, but I want to control the height for sure. I want to make it 200 pixel. Let's say 200. Then you will see the image height has like decreased. Now I want to put this software developer at the bottom of my image, or maybe I can put it at the top. It works both ways for me. So I'll put it at the top. So I'll cut it from here, paste it after the h1 tag, and now you can see the text is here. But after that, I can apply a break tag and bring the image at the bottom of this text. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to add a break tag here, and the image should be at the bottom of this text, as you can see. Okay, so far so good. But let's just move back to our iframe. You can see the beautiful map is here, and you can scroll and navigate wherever you want. Okay, fair enough. Now I want to make this frame a little bit smaller because it looks too big for me. I'll make it 300 pixel the width, so the width is now more smaller. And I want to control the height as well. So I want to say it as well 300 pixel, the same height and width for this one. So it is my own preference. You can do your own. Still, it looks quite big to me. I'll make it 250 pixel. Okay. That's it. Now you can see the brilliant map is here. It's awesome. Okay. So now you know how to use iframe. As I said, you can use iframe to load others' website. Let's say I have a website called Study with Anis. So this is a website one of my friend has built for me or developed for me a long time ago. It's kind of like WordPress. So I don't know what he has done here. And even I'm not interested because I'm not like managing this website anymore. It's been a long time. I have updated my playlist name here. Whatever. So this is the website address, and I want to load it inside an iframe. So for that reason, I can do it anywhere. For an example, I can create an iframe here. You can see. So it basically saying you need to give a source here. Okay, I have the source. I copied it from my website. And now if you see at the bottom, here is my website actually. So you can see my website here. So we are able to add others' website or any website, and then map, and also we can add YouTube video to our website with the help of this iframe. Let's give it a try. Let me show you how to add a YouTube video here. So I'm going to youtube.com, and then let's find something related to me, Anisul Islam, and then HTML maybe. Okay. And basically my channel has a lot of videos, around 2000 videos, where I have covered at least 40 different subjects, most of them like computer science subject, and the others, like let's say half of the 40 playlist, I have 20 for computer science, I have 15 for web development, and I have 5 for the higher secondary, let's say like this. Okay, so I want to add this video, for example. And how can I add this video to my web page? I just have to do something very easy. Go to the share section, click the share one, and then embed. Use the embed one. So from here, you can copy this entire thing, whatever here. I can copy it from here, just copy it. And then now I can paste it to my web page here. So basically you can see it's another iframe. It has width and height, whatever they have. Don't worry, just paste it and save it. You will see the video is here. And you know how to control the width and height for sure. Whatever, I'm not going to talk about this a lot. So I think I have done already quite a lot about iframe. So I want to remove the iframe from here. Okay. We have our map still in the contact section, which looks good to me. So we have covered iframe. Now it's a good time to move to audio and video section. So how do you add audio and how do you add video? So these are two important topics probably we are going to look at. I am not going to create any audio here. Actually, you can create a folder. Let's say you can call it audio, and you can bring some audio to this folder. Okay, you can just drag some audio to this folder, and you can give any name to this audio. And then if you want to load this audio, you can do something like this. You can use audio tag, which is going to load audio for you. And here in the source, you have to give the address of the audio. That's it. This is how you can load an audio here. But you can do a few more things here. Let's say you can use the source tag inside of this audio tag, which is basically an empty tag. So basically source, and then inside the source, you can use the source attribute. So you do not need to use the source here. So first you can say audio tag, then inside the audio you can say source tag, which can have like source attribute, and inside this you can tell which audio you want to use. So let's say I have some audio inside of this audio folder, so I can say something like this. I go to audio file and let's get a audio called audio.1, audio 1. Okay, that's it. .mp3. Let's say the audio extension is mp3. So make sure you use the extension. And then there is another attribute you have to use, which called type. You have to say what is the type of this audio. So I can say it's audio mp3 type. That's it. That's all you need to load an audio here. That's type is mp3. That's all. So same goes for video. So I'm not going to talk a lot about audio and video here. I think you got this idea. Now you can look on Google and know more about this. Okay. So we have covered this chapter 3 section as well. Now let's move to chapter 4. And what is going to be chapter 4? Let's see. I can copy it from here. Copy the entire thing from here and then go down below. This time is chapter 4. And we want to learn about table and form here. Table and form. We will have 2 more sections, so I can write it down. 1 more section basically, and then our HTML thing is done. Later on, we are going to talk about web accessibility at the end. That's going to be our last chapter. So we are quite ahead of our plan. So let's go to the chapter 4, and it starts with table. So how to create a table for your web page. It's very basic. I'm going to show you. Don't worry, we'll go all together. We want to display a table for our skills. We don't have any data here, so why do you use table? If you want to display your data in a tabular format, then you want to use table. It's a very basic thing, isn't it? So let's go to our skills section. Where it is our skills section here. And I want to emphasize this one. So create an emphasize tag and then cut this one from here, paste it. That's all. Now I have skill text, which is kind of a heading, and it has some style. It's like emphasize, which is italic style. Okay, so let's create a table here. How do you create a table? It's very basic. You use table tag, and that's how you create a table. Fine. But inside this table, you have to follow some structure that we follow earlier for the HTML. You remember at the beginning we said for the HTML we use two important things. One is head, another one is body. Same goes for table. You say table head, so this will be one part, and there will be table body. That's the two important thing you need to know. You can use table foot, but I'm not going to use that. So inside the table tag, you will have two important tags called table head and table body. Now inside the table head, you normally create the heading of your table. So whenever you want to create something, let's say I want to show here my ID, the name and something for the first row, and which will be my heading. So I'm trying to make a row. And whenever you want to create a row, the tag is there for you. It's called tr, which means table row. And inside this table row, I want to create some data for me, some column for me. So th is the right one, which refers to table heading. I will say technologies. So it's saying technologies. I don't know if I do some mistake, please excuse me while I'm typing. So I have created a column inside the table row, which is called technologies. And then I want to create another column. I want to say it's kind of skill level. Skill level. So now we have two, you can see table heading here, but still it doesn't look like table. You don't see it as a table. For this reason, you can add an attribute here, which called border. I want to give a border for the table, which is something not like recommended here, as you can see. So basically you can do this border things from CSS, which is recommended. If you are designing, if you are manipulating your HTML, CSS is the right thing. But for now, we are using some deprecated things just to make things simple. Okay, now there should be some border, and it just look like table. This is good, but this is the first row we created. Okay, fair enough. We have created our heading of the table. And how did you do it? We have created table head tag for table header. And then for a row, as always, you have to create a row and then you need to put some data inside this table header tag. Fine. Let's go to the body tag now. We are done with table heading. We need to add some data in the body. So again, you have to create row, then put data in the row. This is the structure. Always create row, then put data inside the row. Okay. So for creating row, we are creating another row here. We are using tr. And inside the tr, this time we're not going to say th, but we are going to say td, which basically means table data. Okay. We have used th only for the table header, not anywhere else. Don't use th anywhere else. Because there is some sort of difference, and you'll notice very soon. So here inside this td, I'm going to say, let's say C and C++ language. Okay, and for this language I have, like, let's say 4 out of 5. That's my scale. That's my scale level. Now you can see the scale level is showing here, C++. Fine, I will make it like capital. Okay, so you can see we have created another row. It is a table row, so tier tag, and inside this tier tag we have used td, which means table data, table data. So basically this is a column and this is a column as well. And the difference you can see, this one was th, but this one is td. So the difference here, for th you can see this is kind of strong, so it makes the text bold kind of heading, but the td doesn't make the text strong, which is needed here at all. Okay, so we can create another row. Just copy and paste this thing down below, and you can name it something else. I can say it, let's say Java. Okay, come on, not like this. I want to start with capital one. Okay, and I can give some value here, let's say 3 out of 5. And you can see another column is here, another row basically is here. But to make things more like interesting, you can add star here. So how do you do that? go to Unicode and Unicode table again, add some symbol from here, star symbols, and you can see there are a lot of symbols related to star. I need to select this one, I will copy it, and then I can paste here. Let's say I can paste it 4 times. 4 times. Okay, cool. So it should be visible here. You can see it. That looks nice. But I want to add one more star that is saying that I don't have knowledge, like one less point. So I'll copy this one. I'll paste to my code here. Okay, that's all. Let's see the output. So you can see my skill level for C and C++. Now I can do the same one for the next one. So let's just copy it and paste it, but this time I want to make it like something like this, something like I have 3 out of 5 I want to say. So let's do it like this. Okay, and you can see I have skill level 3 out of 5. Okay, there are some like half, you can use half of those things, like which is not full, not empty, but half. Okay, but I'm not going to talk about this anymore. That's all. So this is all about table. You know how to create table from now on, and you can use it to your web page for sure. Then let's go to the next one, which is a very common one, and probably in every web page you will see, which is called form. And how does the form help us? It helps us to get some data from user. So let's say user want to send some message to me. So I can create a form. I can ask the user, hey, give your name, give your email address, and give me your message. Then submit the form. I will get the data from you. Yes, we can do it. And how to do it? Let's see how to do it. For this reason, we can go to our contact section again. And here, top of this map, probably I can create my contact form here. Okay, this is a good idea. So top of the map, inside the contact section here, after the h2 tag, I'm going to create a form for myself where the user can give some data to me. Okay, so create a form is very easy. Creating a form, very easy. Just use the form tag. Right now, I'm not going to explain what does this action means here. We'll have a look on this later. But just for now, think about this. We have a tag called form that helps us to create form. Okay, that's all. And inside this form, I want to create an input tag. Basically, it's going to help you to create an input field for the user where they can give some data. So this is the tag is the most important tag for the form, because this input tag has many different forms, many different types that you can use. I will show it one by one. First, you can see that I'm saying input type text. So if you come here, you can see an input field here where you can give only text, or also you can type number. Both are okay here, because text allow you to put whatever like letters or numbers you can use here, no problem at all. It's kind of alphanumeric. And then I will show you some more, but before that I want to create some space between this like map and those input things. So we can add some like break or whatever. So let's add some break. I'll add 2 break here, so 2 line breaks. I think you can see it right now. Okay, I can use something called here email. So let's say I will add like this. This time I will use the type email. So now the user can type email here, but the email address needs to be valid. So it checks also validation for you, not only the text, not only the email address. It makes sure that your email address is valid. So if you don't use, let's say, this @ symbol, and if you want to do something else, it will give you some sort of warning here, and it will say, hey, use the @ symbol before submitting your form. Okay, so it will give you some sort of warning here for sure. And in order to see this, I am going to add a button here. So you can add a button for submitting your form, which is easy. There are a lot of options here, but I'm going to use this button submit. So what basically is saying, I'm creating a button and I can give some text here. I can say send, that's it. And then the type of this button is submit, which is very important to notice here. because after filling up all this input field, you are going to submit the form. So the button type needs to be submit here. Okay. Now let's check it out. I have one text input field for mine, like text, so I can give my name, let's say for an example, and the next one is for my email address. Okay, and for now, if I just say my email address is something like this, and I put send, click on send, it's giving me some sort of warning, and it's saying, hey, add symbol should be there for any kind of email address. So now you can see the validation things. That's what I wanted to show you. But let's say if I didn't give any value here, and also I didn't give any value here, I want to send this like form, like empty form, empty data, like nothing is there. For this reason, you can create a validation. You can say, hey, I wanted to give me some data for sure for this input field. You cannot submit an empty form. I am not allowing you this. You can do this. You can make sure that user don't leave like empty. So for that reason, you can say required. So now the user needs to give some sort of data before they submit this form. This is what this required is telling here. So if I try to send, you can see it's saying, please fill in this field. It's giving me some instruction now. You cannot send the form before filling up this input field, both of these. Okay, that's all. But if I create an input field like this, it doesn't make any sense. Like, what should I do here? I don't know. And what should I do here? I don't know as well. It's not giving me any instruction. For this, you can use something called placeholder attributes. So let's add it here. Let's say placeholder your name. Just give a text, whatever you like. I'm saying it's your name. And let's add another placeholder for this and say your email. That's all. So now this value should be appeared in this input field if I save it. Okay. Okay, I have saved it, and you can see now your name and your email. Now you know what you have to do inside these input fields. So as I said, there are some other input fields are available. I want to show a few input fields here. So there are different types. You can change the type. You can use password. So this time, this input field will accept only password. So if I type something, you cannot see by default because it's a password field. Okay. And then we can create, let's say, we can select different type of value here. Let's say we want to select color. So now you can see a color input field for you. You can select different color from here, and then probably you can submit that color. Okay, cool. And we have something called date. We can use this. So input type, the input tag has different type of options, as you can see from here. Now you can see the date. How does it work? Okay, it works nice. We can select any date and then we can submit our data. Fine. So far, so good. I have covered a lot, but how about if I want to create a radio button or other stuff? Okay, we can do it. But before moving forward, I want to mention one really important thing, and I want to move everything from here. Okay, for now, let's move everything. Let's keep one input field and one button inside this form. You can use this placeholder. There is no problem. But for accessibility reason, let's say if some people cannot see, they're blind, so probably they are going to use screen reader software to read your website. For this reason, it's better to use some sort of label that gives information about this input field. So how do you create the label? You can say something like this, label, and it will create label for you. In this for attribute, you need to give a good name for your label. Let's say, what's the reason of creating this label? I want it for username, so I will say name, or I will say full name, something like this, full name. And then in this label tag, as a content, I can say full name. And then I can add colon for just making it looking good. And you can see the label is here. Now when I will use screen reader software to read this web page, the screen reader will say full name input field, something like this. So it will give the user some idea about what's happening in the page. Okay, that's for accessibility reason. It is kind of recommended things, and you should do it. So whenever you are using this sort of input field, try to combine them with the label. Be sure about this. Try to combine them together so they look one thing. Okay, so they're just one, like connected with each other. Now for making or binding them together, you should use something called ID. So let's give them an ID. The input tag should have an ID, which should be similar to this for value. Okay, so I can copy this full name and then I paste it here. And then another beautiful or important attribute that you want to use, that's called name attribute, which is very important for handling the data from the backend, which is very important. So for now, use this name attribute and give it the exact same value that you have used for the label. Okay, that's all. So now label and input tag both are connected together because of this for value and also the ID value as well, you know. So this is how you connect two things together for the form components. Like in the form, if you use input tag, try to use the label with that input tag. And remember to use the for value, same for the ID as well. Okay, so I can put this together inside a div for now. Cool. So I can create more things like this, just copy paste. Okay, one more field I want to create. This time I will want to create for email address. So I will say, hey, this time I want email from you, your email address. And here I'll put as a value as email. Now definitely this needs to be changed. The type should be email of this input field. And here it will be email. So whatever you put inside the for, you have to, like, it is recommended to put the same value for ID and the name. So they will be connected together. I'm sorry, it should be email as we have given email here, isn't it? So let's put email here. That's all. And by saying required, you know, what does it mean? User must need to fill up this form before sending the data. Okay, we can see they're very close to each other. So probably it's a good time to add some break here, even though it's not recommended. But when you use CSS, you can like use some margin and padding stuff to get some space so that you don't need to use this break again and again. Okay, which is not recommended for creating space. But since we are just learning like HTML, so we can do it. We can use this thing. Okay, you can see some spaces here. The next thing I want to create here is, let's say for gender, I want to give an opportunity for the user to select whether the person is male or female or maybe something else, maybe others. Okay, yes, we can do it. Let's create one more div here. And inside this div, I want to create something for selecting gender, for gender selection. So I can say gender, that's fine. Then I can create the input tag again. And with the help of input tag, there is a type called radio. So we can use the radio button. And then if I just save it, you can see the output for sure. You can see this radio button pop up here. It's showing here. And then after the input tag, you want to give some sort of value. Let's say you want to say it's a male. Okay, cool. And the text should be displaying here. Fine, this is okay. But as I said earlier, if you use input tag, make sure to use some sort of label that match for that input tag, that like is connected somehow with their purpose. So I'm going to cut this mail from here and I'm going to create a label here after the input tag. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to create this label for male, and I can paste the value that I did create earlier. And here now I want to bind this label with this input tag. And how do we do it? We have done it quite many times. We do say the ID, which is similar to this for value, which is male. So let's say male, and then let's give the name as well as a male. So now they're connected. Okay, we did it. You can see it. We have done it quite well. But don't leave your text like this as an empty. We can say it's a span tag. So span is something basically is not going to take like any new line, you can just put some text, it will show the text. That's it, nothing more than that. It's not creating any new line or nothing. Okay, cool. So now that we have created one option, which is mail, we can create more option like this for sure. We can just copy and paste down below, and we can make some space and say this one is for female. So that label text should be showing in our website female, you can see, but still we did not connect it. We did not connect it with this input tag yet because the value we didn't change yet. It's female, and we need to use the same value for this ID and for this name. Now they are connected together. That's cool. You can see male, female. Cool. The next thing I want to show you here, how to add a text area. Well, in this text input field, you can just type one single line, but not more than one. If you want to get user input as a more than one line, then you can use something called text area. Let's say a user wants to give you some message. So he may type like multiple or 5 or 6 lines of message, something like multiple lines. So for this case, you can use text area, and we can just create a text area very quickly here. Let's create another div. But before this div, I want to create some space. So I'll say break. Okay, fair enough. It looks good to me. And I can create a label here. And in the label, I'm going to say it's for a message. Now I want to show the text message in the web page. And then I want to create the text area. For now, we have to use a different tag called text area. So far, we have used input tag quite a lot and changed its type. It was working, but this time we need to use text area. And here you can see some ready-made thing. When I entered, when I typed the enter button, you can see it has name, which something is very essential for us because this for value needs to be similar with name and ID. So both of them are now connected and they are accessible. This one is saying how many columns you want, how many rows you want. You can change this value and you can have a look by yourself how it's changing. Okay, cool. But after the message, the text area comes side by side, which I really don't want. So after the message, I'll make a break here and bring the text area at the bottom of this message. As you can see, it's here. That's cool. So far, it's looking really, really good. So we have created our form. Everything looks good. I can say I can change the text of this button saying send message, which looks good here. So far good. So the last thing I want, let's say if a user giving some data here, he's selecting male or female and then giving some text saying it's a dummy data for the first message. Whatever text the user wants to give, they can give text. I'm not worried about the spelling here. And if the user just click this button saying send message, all this data needs to be needs to go to an email address where I can see. Okay, so the thing is, the user will give me some data and submit the form. All the data should come to my email address. This is what I want. So for this reason, you can use an API, external API called formspre. So formspre.io, then you can create your account. I have already created my account, so I'm going to log into this site. And you have seen you can see there are like 2 forms that I already created. For you, I'm going to create another form. You can give any name whenever you're creating the form. I'm going to say it's kind of test form. But remember one thing, when you create account in this website called Forms Free, actually not free, so Forms Free website, you have to validate your account's email. So it will send you an email to your email address and say, it will say, hey, verify your account. So after verifying your account, you can access this website and create the form. So I'm creating a form here. You see form created successfully. And it is giving me an endpoint that I can use. Basically, it is also creating a format that you can use. It's a ready-made form that you can use, but we have our form, so I'm not going to use this. I just need this API, that's all. So this API is going to help me to handle this form data. So I'm copying it from here. Then where I can paste this API? Here actually, inside this action attributes. So as a value, I can paste my API address here. So what will happen now if the user fill up the form and hit this submit button or send message button, the data will be sent to this address. So the action will handle the URL where you want to send your data. But before sending data, you want to add one more thing here, which is called method attribute. And here you need to give a value called post. So this means you want to post the data to this API. That's all. And this API will help us to get our data to our email address. That's all. Okay. So let's check it out whether it's working or not. I need to open my email for that. So I'm opening my email somewhere in a different browser. So here you can see my email that I have opened for you. Now I will send the form. I will send some data by submitting the form, and I will see whether that data comes to this email address or not. Okay, let's go to our form. I will type some data here. I will say mail and then some text data, whatever, test data, and then send the message. Okay, it's saying the form was submitted successfully. Go back. So I'm going back to my web page. Now I want to check whether the form has come here, the form data. Yes, it is. It's saying new submission for on test form. You can see the email address of the user who has sent the form, who has sent the data, and also the name of the user. Mail, we can see only on. This is something probably we have to look out later, but not now. And then we can see the message saying some test data, whatever we have seen. Okay. So you can work around with this all mail thing. So mail on, that means the user is mail. User mail is selected. That's all. Okay, fine. So at the end, now we are done with form. The last thing we want to cover, which is called web accessibility. Well, this is something is going to be very interesting for us. How can we make our website accessible? What do we mean by web accessibility? Please be careful about this topic, because please pay attention to this topic, because this is something very important nowadays. What does it mean by accessible? It's something, let's say, if some user is blind, if some user cannot see your web page. So in this case, you want to help the user to read the web page by using some sort of screen reader that I already discussed earlier. So web accessibility means making your website supportive for disabled people and also for search engine. So your website needs to be search engine friendly. And how can you make your website search engine friendly or even disable friendly? It's to make your web accessible. Now we'll learn how to make our website accessible. First of all, I want to see whether my web page is already accessible or not. So for this reason, I can check it right now from here by inspecting. So from inspect, go to the lighthouse that we have used earlier for search engine optimization. But this time I don't want to select. I can select both, but I'm not going to do that. I will only focus on accessibility. So let's just analyze this page accessibility. It's going to take some time and give us result, but wait for that until. So far you've done a great job. You were with me, you were learning a lot of things. I'm sure you have done a great job. Now it's saying your website is 96% accessible. That means there are some things we need to do here. We need to fix the frame one. There should be some title for the iframe, and the link should be more describable. That's what they're telling. Okay, so we learned 2 lessons from here. If you are using a link, the name of the link should be more described so the screen reader can read it very well, and it's going to make sense to the user. And also, if you use iframe, make sure that you use the title attributes. So go to the iframe. I don't know where we have used for our contact. Yes, for our map. So I'm going to say somewhere, anywhere, the title attribute, which will give some like textual idea for the user. So I can say it's a map of my address. So in case if the map doesn't load, it can give some sort of title to the user. That's all. Okay, fair enough. Now let's see, where did you use the link? So we can check it out. Or maybe I can leave the link. You can fix it out by yourself. As I said, give a link meaningful text. And the next accessibility issue will come. Let me write down here. First of all, I'm giving you some tips to make your website accessible. Check your website accessibility with the tool that we just used right now. It's called Inspect. Then Lighthouse, go to Lighthouse, and then finally check the accessibility. So this is how you can check the accessibility of your web page. It will tell you how to make your website accessible. You can follow the tips. But before that, whenever you are creating your web page, make sure to use semantic tags. So there are two terms you need to know right now. One is semantic, another one is non-semantic. Okay. So let's just understand this topic. What does it mean by semantic, and what does it mean by the opposite one, non-semantic? So semantic basically means something meaningful. Okay, that's all. Something meaningful. Okay. So if a tag is meaningful, then we call that tag as a semantic tag. So far, let's say you have used table tag, which is semantic tag, because it is already meaningful by its name. So if someone see a tag called table, they really understand what is the purpose of this tag. Okay, basically you are going to create table with this tag. That's all. If someone see a form tag, they understand, okay, you are going to create a form. So basically it's a semantic tag. But let's say if I use deep tag, basically which divide the screen, and already you have seen the use of deep tag a lot of times. Here I try to divide like this part as a one part, then again this all together another part. So I have divided my page into few different sections. But if someone see this deep tag, it is not that much like meaningful. Let's say if you see the span tag, you really don't know what this span tag is going to do. So this is not a semantic tag. If you see H1, you know it's a heading one. So it is a semantic tag. So I said you have understood now semantic and non-semantic things. So I said if you create a web page, try to use semantic tag more as much as possible. If you really don't know the purpose of the tag, then in this case probably you can use non-semantic tag like deep and other stuff. Okay, so let's create a semantic structure for our web page. There are some semantic tag that we are going to apply. I'm going to write down their name here one by one. For header, you have header tag. For let's say navigation, you have nav tag. For footer, you have footer tag. For section, you have section tag. For like main section or the main part of your HTML, you have main tag. So what should be the basic structure of a HTML page? The standard structure, the semantic structure. I can show you somewhere here just for an example so that you don't like messed up with the other part of the code. So when you create a web page, first probably you're going to create a header. Then you are going to create a main section. Also probably before header, you are going to create a navbar. So you can place your navbar related code inside of this nav tag. You can create the header of your page here inside of this header tag. Inside the main tag, just remember you can use main tag only one time in your page. So inside this main tag, you can create many sections. Let's say first one is the about me section. Just think like that. And then you can create another section. Let's say you can call it like education section. Then you can create another section, call it skill section. So you can create different section inside the main. And the last one will be footer tag. So you are going to create your footer here. So this is basically HTML5 structure, which is like accessible, which is semantic. Okay. So this is the structure, probably is the best structure for us to follow. So let's start applying this structure for our accessibility things. So let's go up, a little bit up, and start applying our knowledge. So these are some of the links, and I want to put all of this link inside a nab tag. So these are kind of nabber. So I put it here inside the nab tag. Okay, so we have created our nabber. Now let's create our header. So these are everything for creating our header. I will select it. I'll create a header tag and I'll place everything inside the header tag. Okay, so far so good. I'm just formatting a few things. It looks good. And now rest of the things, starting from the summary and other section, I'll put inside the main tag. So until the contact section ends, I'll have selected everything. I'll place them inside the main tag. And you remember, you can use only one time main in every single page. For index.html, you can use one main. For contact.html, you can use one main. So it goes like this. Okay, so I have pasted everything inside the main. And the last one, what was that? For our footer. So for the footer, we are going to use footer tag. Okay, so let's place everything inside this footer tag. Now it's more semantic, but for each different section, we can use section tag. So let's just use it. Okay, where is the main tag? Here. So this is the summary section. I can use like everything inside this, or maybe like this. I can select this part. I can say section, and then I can give a name for this section, or I can give an ID for this section. So I can tell that, hey, this section has an ID called summary, so that I can uniquely identify each section. That's all, nothing than that. So you can learn a lot about this ID thing later on when you start to learn CSS. But for now, let's just give it an ID. Okay. So let's keep doing the same thing for the job experience. So I'm going down. I want to select everything inside the job experience, and then I want to create a section here. And inside the section, I want to paste everything. But at the top, I want to give an ID for the section. Let's say employment history or job, just job. And then in the education section here, I want to create another section here, just like others. I want to say, hey, this is a section where I want to create, where I want to tell about my education. And I want to give an ID here saying education. The same goes for the skill. So I'm going to select whatever I have in this skill, comments, and then create a section, give it an ID, and this time the ID is going to be skills. Okay, so you can see I have created the skill things here. And the last one is the contact one. So let's just select it. Let's go down, further down, and here it's end. So I have cut everything. And I'm going to say it's a contact. So section, and give an ID to the contact section. It's saying contact. So the ID is contact, and I have pasted everything inside of this section, as you can see. Section ID contact. Okay, look good. It looks really good. So we have followed the HTML5 structure. So we made our website more accessible. And then the next thing, probably you need to use when you want to make your website accessible. I have already mentioned, if you are using image tag, make sure to use the alternative attributes. If you use the image tag, make sure to use alternative attributes. And I have already explained the reason why you need to use alternative attributes. So I'm not going to explain it here. But again, I'm saying if for some reason image is not like available, if the user cannot see the image, then the alternative attribute will give some like information to the user, some textual information. That's all. And then the next tips for making your website accessible: if you create a link, make it as much details as possible. Make it describable. So for an example, I'm going to create a link here just to show you what do I mean by this tip. Let's say I'm saying here visit. Okay, I created a link, and gave a text called visit. So let's see where's the text, where's the link here. So if you see this link is saying visit, you really don't understand what does it mean. So you need to be very describable. It should be describable and easily understandable. So I can say visit my web page. Now, if someone see this visit my web page link, then they understand what is the purpose of this link. So this is something I wanted to tell you about. This is something, this is the tips that I wanted to give you. So whenever I create a link, make it describable. That's good. That's good. And for the last probably tips, I will say if you create the form anytime, make sure you use the label thing. And if you use the label, make sure to like bind it together by using the for value with its ID value of any element that you want to connect. Actually, we have seen it quite many times here, isn't it? So you can see the label, the for value should be linked to the another element's value. So ID is same, name value same, and for value is same. So you see message, message, message. Again, same thing for this. We wanted to connect to these elements. How? We said like level for value is male, and input ID value is male. Also the name value is male. So for ID, name, all the values should be same. And this is how you connect two things together and make the website more accessible. Now here I could talk more about web accessibility, like area level by, but I really don't want to talk, but at least let's talk about area level. This is something probably I can talk here. And what is the purpose of area level? Or maybe I can discuss a little bit about role. Okay, let's discuss about role a little bit. Role. So let's say for some reason, somewhere down below, let me show you here. So it's a good place to show you new things so that you don't get lost in the code. You know, we have written so much code already, so you don't get lost in that part of code. If you want to learn something new, just follow here. It's a blank thing. Okay. So let's say for some reason you have used a div and you are saying click me, and you want to make this div like kind of button. You can do it with CSS, but the button tag, you know, if I use button tag and if I say click me, which make sense more than this one, because a button should be like inside a button tag, isn't it? A button text should be inside a button tag, and a button should be created with button tag. Actually, that makes sense. But let's say for some reason you created a button with div and you designed it like a button. For this time, you can make this one accessible, like explicitly accessible. Button tag itself like accessible because its purpose is very easy to understand. So it is accessible, already accessible. But if you want to make this one explicitly accessible, you can say the rule of this div is button. So you can give rule to some sort of element and say, hey, this div is going to act like button now. And now this one is explicitly like semantic or accessible, you can say. Okay, I think you have understood the reason of like a rule thing here. And the next thing probably I'm going to say about the area level. Okay, let's see, we have some button somewhere. Let's find out. Definitely we have some. Yes, we have button here. Now I can add more information to this button when the screen reader read this button. So I can say area level and give some information for this button. I can say learn more or send me message, send me a good message. So now when the screen reader will read this button, it will say send a good message instead of this send message thing. It will give priority to this area level. And you can add this area level to any element you want to add more information, to give more information to the user. You can add this area level and it helps you to make an element more accessible. You can give your element an accessible name by using this area level. And likewise, you can use area level by, area level description by. I'm not going to talk about this anymore because I think I have discussed a lot about this web accessibility. Now it's your turn to use like web accessibility things and learn more about web accessibility things. So I think we are done so far here. I discussed also a little bit about area label. So you can add this area label to any element to give it an accessible name. That's it. That's all. That's all. Okay. So far, we done a great job and we covered a lot of things. You can see here, a lot of things. So I hope you have enjoyed this video and you have learned a lot from this video. If you like this video, don't forget to put a like and also comment below how did it went for you, how did it go for you. I think it went very well for you, and probably I'm sure that you have learned quite many new things here that I wanted to teach you. And most important things, like I wanted to show you some use of extension. I want to talk about web accessibility that most of people don't talk. Also, I wanted to give you some a good resource of like image where you can get images, how to use font awesome icon. These are the some important things I wanted to focus on, and I wanted to be different than others. And I hope you like this video. If you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to share my video so that you can inspire me to create more videos like this. I'm putting how much effort when creating this video. Definitely you can imagine. And I'm ready to do more things for you guys. Normally I make videos in Bengali, as you already noticed. So I have created more than 2,000 videos for Bengali, and it's been like 10 years I'm supporting my community, Bengali community. This time I thought, why should not I support other communities? So that's why I'm creating this type of English videos, which probably is going to help people from different countries as well. So I have taken my initiatives. Now it's your duty to support me. That's all. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. See you soon in another video. Take care.